So today we're going to start with a cone of clay and we're going to center. Okay, and usually I just take it and press it down and kind of press it down and without the wheel going and press it down, make sure it's attached to the bat. Okay, and if you're right-handed, it's going to go counterclockwise. If left-handed, it's going to go clockwise. And then take your finger and just seal it down on the bottom. Then you can get your hands wet. And the wheel doesn't need to be going full speed. You can just adjust the speed by the pedal. And take your hands and you're going to just press down. Basically, we're just trying to make sure that the clay is attached to the bat. So I'm going to press down, making sure it's attached. Okay. This is the first step. And then I'm going to push away. So I'm going to use my hands, use this part of my hands, lift them up just a little bit off the bat so it doesn't sand the bottom of your hand off. And you actually use your body. So you want to lock your elbows into your legs, kind of a nice triangle, and you're going to use your body and not just your arms. Okay? And try not to push the clay off the bat. So I'm going to start at the bottom, I'm going to move my hands up. So I'm going to push, and I'm moving my hands up. I'm going to get up to the top, I'm going to ease off the pressure, and I'm going to gently let go. Okay? So if I do that again, and I push hard, and I let my hands off quickly, it's going to go out of center. Okay? So you want to just make sure that you're pushing, you want to ease off the pressure, and then gently let go. Okay? Step one. Now I'm going to push down. So I'm going to have my left hand here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to find the center point. So the center is here. And I use this knuckle here kind of as a guide. So I'm going to place my hand here, and I'm pushing down. So I'm going to actually use this part of my hand, and I'm pushing down. But I can see all of the clay here. So I can watch the clay and see what's going on. So if you put your hand like that, which is the tendency, then you can't see what's going on. You can't really see the clay move. So I want to use that as a reference point. I'm going to start here. The thumb is tucked in. Some people like to do it like this, which is fine, as long as you can see the clay. So I'm going to stay like this. I got my hands locked, elbows are locked. I'm going to move, and I'm going to bend my wrist this way. Okay? So pushing down. Again, the speed doesn't need to go full speed. You can put a little water on. Go down. I'm going to bend my wrist, and I'm going to push in. Again, I'm going to release the pressure and gently let go. Again, I'm going to start with the knuckle right in the center. I'm going to push down. I'm going to come around, and I'm going to push in. And I'm going to gently let go. So a couple things you want to avoid is if you're pushing down and you get this kind of flat pancake, mushroom shape, you can get little air pockets trapped under here. So you want to try to avoid that by making sure that when you're going down, that you're coming around and pushing in. Okay? And then release the pressure and go down. And you don't have to do it all in one. You can just slowly work the way down. Now the bottom part, this bottom like inch or so, can't bend your wrist that far, right, to get that bottom part. So can either push away on the very bottom. So I'm just pushing that way. I'm using my body, I'm locked together. I'm pushing that away. Or I can use my fingers and pull back. So mostly I'm pulling with this hand because the clay is gliding through. If I push on this one, I can gouge the clay. So just push back. And I'm going to gently let go. So the left hand is pushing in, as well as the right hand is pushing down. So this hand has to push in, but also has to move out as this is going down. Okay? So I'm going to flatten off the top, and clean this up a little bit. So you want to start with a piece that looks like that. You can check to see if it's centered by, if you hold a stick and press in without moving your hand, like that, it should make a line all the way around. If it's hitting on one side more than the other, then it's not quite centered. Okay? This is pretty good. I'm just going to flatten this off. And now I'm going to find the center point and start opening it up. So I'm going to let my index finger ride in, kind of like a needle on an old record player. Anyone remembers those? And then the tendency is to go up like that, which you have a lot of control. So you want to keep your finger low and brace your hand on the clay, and it should just go right in. And you can check the depth on the bottom. Probably it's about like that right now, about a ½ inch. So for beginning students, ½ inch is probably good. Later on, you can make it a little thinner. Okay. Then you want to be able to get 2 fingers in. So I switch hands to this side, and I'm going to pull back. Again, I'm braced. I got my elbows locked. I got my hands together, and it's kind of one movement like this. And this is you have to be careful because you can throw it off center at this point. So if you're pulling and you let go quickly, you can throw it off like that, right? Because what I've done is I pulled hard and I let go too fast. So you just want to make sure that when you're pulling back, it's a nice even pressure. When you're ready, you want to start easing off the pressure and then gently let go. So I'm going to open this up about 3 inches. And I can just take the sponge, clean up the bottom, and compress the bottom down. And then I'm going to just close it down just a little bit. So I want the inside to be, I don't know if you can see this or not. I'll do it on here. I want the inside to be a nice square, kind of 90-degree angle. It's like having a clay tablet. Like that. I'm going to show it to the camera there. Like that, okay? So I'm just going to close this down just a little bit to get that nice 90-degree angle. And then I'm going to gently let go. Compress the lip down. And now I'm ready to bring the walls up. So I use a sponge. A lot of people just like to use their fingers. It's kind of personal choice. I think it's a little bit easier for beginning students to use a sponge. It keeps the clay wet longer and you don't get stuck. So I'm going to just drizzle a little water down the inside so my finger doesn't dry out. So on the inside, I'm going to use just these little pads, okay? And so my fingers are relaxed and they're kind of pushing that way. You don't want to go like that and dig in. It's just a relaxed push this way. And in the right hand, I'm going to hold the sponge with my thumb, and I'm actually going to press the clay with just one finger, like right there. Okay. The speed is a little bit slower, and I'm going to do pretty much everything around 4 o'clock. So if you think about 12, 3, 6, 9, over here at 4, I'm going to work pretty much at this area. Okay. I'm going to set my hands. I'm going to always try to make contact with this hand where I can. If I can't, I'll show you later, it's going to just be in contact with the clay itself. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to push a little bit harder on the outside, and I'm going to start right at the bottom, right at where the clay meets the bat. I'm going to push. I'm going up. So I get towards the top. I'm going to ease off the pressure. I'm going to leave my inside hand in just a little bit longer. I'm going to come up and go off. Okay, I'm going to use my left hand as a guide, index finger, thumb, kind of at 4 o'clock. I'm going to press down and just compress the lip down a little bit. And try to keep the water level on the inside down. I'm going to just drizzle a little water so that it doesn't dry out. Again, I'm going to start right at the bottom. I'm going to push a little bit harder on the outside. I'm also pushing out on the inside. It's going up. I'm going to ease off the pressure as I get towards the top. Inside hand is left in there a little bit longer. I'm going to go up and off. Okay. Again, compress the lip. Grab the water. Drizzle. So you can see it's flaring out a little bit like that. So I'm going to push in right here a little bit harder. And so my thumb doesn't touch my other hand at this point. So I'm going to connect it just to the top lip for stability. I'm pushing here. So I'm going to gently let go. So you can see how the shape has changed. I've pushed in pretty hard here to get that clay to come up from the bottom, right? Most of the clay is here and I want to move it up. So I'm going to start here. The wheel is going a little slower. Going up, easing off the pressure, making sure that I go all the way to the top. And I'm going to gently let go. Compress the lip. And the water out of the bottom. So if you find that your cylinder is going like that, a V shape, it means you're pushing too hard from the inside. So everything's going out like that. Or if you find that your cylinder is getting taller but it's getting skinnier, you're pushing too hard from the outside and not pushing out enough. So ideally you want it to go like this way, just a little pyramid-like, until you're ready to start doing a shape. And so basically, that's what we're going to make. We're working on cylinders. Pretty much, I don't know. Most things that you're going to make on the wheel are going to come from a cylinder. So if you can make this shape, you can start to make every shape. So there's a couple other things we need to do before we finish with this one. If your lip is uneven, like one side is a little bit higher, which often happens with beginning throwers, then you need to cut the lip off. So I'm just going to do that. Even though mine's fairly even, I'll show you that. So I'm going to get my left hand wet. I'm going to use my index finger and my thumb as my guides. They're going to control the lip so that it's not wobbling. I'm going to rest the needle tool right on my thumb, okay, and it's pointing straight ahead. Again at 4 o'clock, I'm going to go down a little bit lower than I need to. I'm going to slowly press in until I hit my index finger. And then I'm just going to pull that off. And then I'll clean up the lip. And compress that down. And then for later, for trimming, I'm just going to take off a little bit of this. I'm going to go up ½ an inch. I'm going to go in at an angle. I don't know what that is. 65 degrees. Guess, a good guess. I'm going to go down until I hit the bat. And then I'm going to go flat on the bat with the needle tool. And I'm going to trim this part off. And then take a wire tool. And if you hold it ends the back, and then just use your thumbs, keep it flat on the bat, pull towards you. You can give it a little twist and lift, and I'm just going to move it to another bat. And then you're ready to do the next one. So we can take the next one. As long as this isn't gooey and wet like this, should be fine. You can put the next ball of clay down. If it's really wet and gooey, then you want to stop, dry it off, and start again.